Welcome everyone to another episode of our how-to series in creating a script for QBCore as well as ESX. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for your interactions on my videos. I truly do hope they help you, and I really hope you keep enjoying them, because I truly make them out of love for FiveM scripting. So, as long as someone enjoys it, I'm quite happy about it. Right. I think the last thing we did was finishing our trigger alert and finishing our give item, or more specifically, our can add, well, add item if can event. Okay. Now, I think let's go through some of the goals we have. Like a has item check, because that would be important for stage 1, right? And then just double check the countdown and make what? Yeah, once we confirm the countdown, I think we can tick off everything in stage 0.5. Then we need to figure out a few things, but we'll do the police alert, add item, and the interact things for that. Okay. Now, let us do this. Okay. Perfect. Now, if minimum police is larger than the police on duty, then he doesn't give you the key. Let's just think on that. Police on duty and minimum police. So if the minimum police required is larger than, that should be fine. Otherwise, alternatively, we could do smaller or equal. No, it has to be larger, right? But if you were to do smaller or equal, instead of returning and saying we can't do something, we'll just execute this code. Right, but this is fine, exactly as is. Right, off to our trigger heist. Once we triggered the heist, I don't think we have to have a client event for it. So I think until we do, we leave it as triggering a server event, right? The only reason I thought about triggering the heist is for other things like statistical tracking and stuff like that, but I don't think it's necessary, so let's not do any of that. Okay. Back to our goals. Let's finish a has item callback, because it'll have to be a callback so that we can wait until we have an item. So let's copy that and let's just go to callbacks and just do this has item. Just create it so that we can come back, copy it, and paste it somewhere else. Right. Let's just call it has item. And we will send it an item name. And we will also send it an item amount. Okay. False being loops without a delay. We could set it in milliseconds, but I don't believe a delay is necessary. Right, now in our server main, this was the callback we registered for can add item. So we will just copy it and rename it to have the similar name. Right, item name, and let's just do item amount. Right, real fancy. and it'll return a true or a false. Maybe do local as item. It starts as false because we are uncertain whether or not they have the item yet, and we'll just return the variable has item once we checked whether or not they have an item. Okay, we might as well copy all of that because it'll be a similar what do you call it, similar structure. So give status, we just change to has item. Okay, and local src is equal to source. We just assign it a variable because I've had times where if you just use straight source, it doesn't quite pick it up as the source who actually triggered it. So I found that if you take in source, it's better to assign it a variable. That way there's no doubt about it that this source that's taken in is the one that is used in checking the things, right? So we won't have a can add, but we will have a QB inventory section, a QS inventory, and probably an aux inventory because aux inventory does function on ESX as well. And it is quite a popular inventory. I do also know that if I set it there, we also have to head over here and have a section for aux inventory here as well, right? So I guess we could quickly run through that. Aux inventory functions, server. Here we go. Can carry item. Just copy that. Can add just becomes an export of aux inventory. Can carry item. Inventory would be of the source, right? The item would be item name, and count would be amount. Metadata will be null. Right. We would not feed it any metadata. Right. As here with the example, source, water, and 3, which is the count, and they just kept metadata null. So that is perfectly fine. So we just have local, can add, and export to do that. Now if we can add, let's add the item. So what we'll do is add item. Super simple. Grab this export, head over to VS Code, and paste it. Right. No callback, no slot, no metadata. Count becomes amount. Item obviously becomes item name, and INV becomes src for source. And that is literally it for aux inventory. Right? What we can do alternatively is a few other things, right? Instead of using framework functions for it, we could just do straight up inventory functions, right? Because QBCore straight up only works with inventories, right? QBCore itself doesn't necessarily have these functions like can add and add item, but ESX does, right? Because it kind of has a built-in inventory system. However, you can use aux inventory and I believe QS inventory on ESX as well, which means that we don't have to do framework checks. We could alternatively only do inventory checks. However, if, for example, someone running an ESX server does not use any inventory system and they use the built-in inventory system, then it might become an issue. However, we can also code or write our code in such a way that it does not become an issue. The only way we can achieve that is if we go into, I believe, our resource on off section, and in a similar fashion of getting our framework, we could also get our inventory. And in the case, so you could write it, in the case else if, right, there is no inventory system, then we just set the inventory system to none. So then when we get to things like has item and can give item, right, we just do straight up inventories and we add a line. Like in this example, we could do else if, right? Could do else if inventory is none, right? And if w dot framework, not frame counter, my bad, framework is ESX, right? This way, if there's no inventory active and we are running the ESX framework, it'll just use framework functions. So we could do that, but that is something I think I'll do in the future to save some time. I know I'm rambling a lot, but I do want to talk about these things because it is a how-to series, and I'd rather everyone walk away with a bunch of knowledge than not knowing anything at all, right? So let's go through a has item structure. Okay, now let us start with ESX. We'll go to the legacy thingy, whatever. I think server player, yeah. Has item, pretty straightforward. So item, X player has item, if item, then you have the item.item count, okay, item label, else print summing. Right, so get player from thingies, and then we do item, I guess we do that, and then we continue with a similar fashion as they have coded. So if item, then, right, we don't need that. We're only checking if they have an item. We don't care about the metadata. And we want item name, right? If item, then if item dot count, I believe it was, then end. So what we'll do is, yeah, item.count. If item.count is equal to item amount, then we return true. Because then, yes, we have the item. However, we want to make sure that we have enough of the item, right? We could alternatively just do and item.count is equal to that, and then if both conditions are met, we return has item true, right? Else we return false, because you either don't have the item or you don't have enough of it. Okay, and yeah, that is pretty simple. And then we just have to do the same for QB, QS, and OX. Right. I think what I will do is, in this video, I'll quickly do OX. Well, I'll quickly do QBCore. In my own time, I'll do QS and OX. And I'll probably rewrite it to have a none inventory as well, and implement the ESX framework thing like I just explained, and then we'll just run through the code in the next video. So I'll quickly do the QBCore one so I don't waste too much time and we can keep getting onto clever things. Right, inventory. Right, we quickly grab a has item. This item is also available client side, however we always want to do inventory stuff server side. Okay, local, let's call it item is equal to exports, has item source, src, items, no, item name, and amount is item amount. Right, let's look at this example. Local has item, right, if has item then, right, so has item is technically a boolean, I believe. So we'll just use it as if it's a boolean value. If Yeah, let's just do if item then else end. So we do this, boom and boom, false. So if item, then has item is true, else it is false. Right at the end we return has item. Okay. So we have a has item, and that should be a-okay, right? Because this callback will call back a has item, which is a Boolean value. So has item will be a true or false variable, and we can use that wherever. Okay. One thing I want to do is get an interaction point for interacting with said things. I'm not sure if ESX works with third eye functionality. Honestly, I've never played on an ESX server before. So I'm not sure. The reason I'm thinking about this is much like QB target, BQRST. Hello, target, thank you. Right, target, remember I told you about the box zone it adds? I'm actually not sure if box target has something similar. Yeah, I'm not sure. Right, bones offset relative to the model. Okay. Groups, items, an item, array of items, a pair of items required to show the option. So this is also something we could do. We could do an item requirement within box target. Menu name, on select export event, server options, on select export event. Okay. Let's see, add global option, global object, paired player, vehicle, model, entity. We could do box zone as well. So I'm thinking we could do a box zone either with target, or we use the library function to add a box zone, right? The only reason I might not want to do it is for two reasons. If we use this box zone, we are technically removing the need for the third eye functionality, and it's a pretty big thing in a lot of QBCore servers. So I don't want to take away from that. So I think what I'm going to do is you know what? I'll do this. Customize. Right. In our framework settings, we will have a little thingy. Right. Interaction style. I guess we could call it that. Config dot interaction. Let's call it interaction. Make it a table. Then we do let's do type. Right. Give it a type. Give it a name. Give it a distance. Give it a label. And what else? Distance label, maybe an icon. Just because we're trying to be fancy. Okie dokie. So let's just go to client. I know I had an icon in here. This is just a temporary icon. It will not be permanent. It is just so that I have something to fill in the blank. Label, take object. This is also just temporary. Distance, that'll be 2.5. It'll always be a float value. Name, let us do qb-target, and type, yeah, let's do target. Okay. So we'll have a few types. We'll have target, right, which is or any third eye targeting system. Not any, but a third eye targeting system, right? Because I won't code for everything. I'll just do QB target and ox target unless there's special requests from someone else. Otherwise, we'll do interact, and this would be for ox_lib, probably interact, right? I can't remember what it's called. Lib modules interface text UI. Let's just do oxlibs text UI. Okay. And that is perfectly fine, because remember, in our manifest, oxlib is a requirement. We could also do dependencies, and within it we could do at ox_lib. I don't know if I can't remember, can I recall if we do it oxlib or at oxlib? I'll leave it at oxlib. Let's see what that does. I think that that's only necessary if you are pulling files from within a directory from that specific script. Okay. Regardless, this is sorted out. The icon label and distance is purely for QB target and ox target. It would not matter with the interact type. This would be QB target is obviously QB target, right? And we would probably have ox_target, and that would be ox target, and that is it, right? Yeah, ox target, that is it. We are only going to code for those two and interact. So what we'll do is we will have a thread, and within the thread we would probably, I'm lying, it won't be a thread, not if we are using the zones, right? But I think the targets will be in a thread. So let's kick off with the targets first. We'll add a box zone. Actually, you know what? I want to create a thread, and within the thread, we will create create thread. My bad. I keep getting sidetracked in my mind because I want to explain it, and then I keep thinking about other things. Right, so we'll create a thread. Within the thread, we will create our targets, right? And what I want to do is create a target for the models in the MLO. And I want to give it a try, because I've actually never attempted it yet, not on custom props. So I would like to try that. I would definitely like to try that. Right. That actually, that IP is not functioning anymore. Okay, yeah, we select that folder. This is the store stream. Right. I believe this is one of the props, right? The phone's on one of the counters. So what I'm thinking, let me just open that again. More information. Can I copy that? No, I cannot. Let's go edit mode. Yeah. F2 to rename, but we're not going to rename it. We just copy it. Then I'm just gonna pop it in there. Maybe we do local models is a table and it'll contain the phone models. I know there are more than one, and that is why I'm doing it that way. Right. Let me see. Okay, this is another prop, and this is another prop. So I'm not sure exactly how it works, but we'll see. I want to test it. I think it's a great opportunity to test it, right? And then we go for the third one. Because I'd rather people interact on the props than, you know, just interacting on a box zone, which isn't bad. However, this specifically would be way more immersive. And yeah. So I think what I will do is I'll try to make this script a bit more general, right? And I'll do config dot stage models, and I'll paste it in here. Right, stage models, maybe do stage 1, and that'll be equal to its own little table. Okay, so that and that. So stage 1's models, we could actually just do that for stage 1. So stage models for stage 1 would be those 3 models. And then for stage 2, right, we will have a model probably, and for stage 3, I guess. That way, we could possibly also, what do you call it? There's a word here. Optimize the script, right? To use less resources, because then we could trigger threads based on the stage the player is in. So we could possibly do a thread within an event and go to our events, and we could probably register net event, right? Or a function. I think a function might be better. Maybe an event. Let's do an event. Register net event. We'll call it in underscore dh. Obviously a client event. Trigger stage 1. And we add an event handler for trigger stage 1. Sorry, there goes an end, and we have a function. My bad. And within that, we just create a thread. Right. So what we can do is the following. If dc dot heist triggered and dc dot heist owner is equal to self.id. I wonder if we could do that. Then end. Get player played ID. Actually, just if the heist is triggered. This way, the thread starts regardless of who triggered the heist, and I think that's important, especially if you have other people trying to complete the heist with you. We might need other checks as well, because, yeah. Well, technically it's only an event, and the event is... Okay, what we can do is take in another variable and call it partners. And this is something we'll use later on. So partners is the players helping you with the heist. We can implement that later on. I'm not sure how the logic will function with multiple people. That is why I keep that variable there. Maybe we'll need it in the future. Right, so maybe just cut it out there, and we will leave it here as a note for us, right? May or may not use it, we'll see. Okay, then quickly, I know it's getting a bit long, this little video. We add a target model, right? This is a function format. Export option. This will go into any client-side resource file. Let's do that. I think that is the most reliable. Right. Okay, let's just see here. Pet spawner utilizes can interact, support checking for job, entity bones. Okay. It doesn't tell us. Right. Let's just roll with it. Let's roll with it. If c dot interaction dot type is target, then else end. Else we will just return, right? Because we don't need the thread for doing the polyzone, right? Because it has its own inside, exit, and enter function. So that is not completely necessary. We will need a while loop. While... Yeah, let's do while dc dot heist triggered, right? Then, yeah, do, there we go, end, right. So we'll wait, and then while our heist is triggered, we will create an interaction point, right? And we'll only start the thread if the heist is triggered, but we'll also only run it when the heist is triggered. Right, it does kind of seem like overcomplicating it, but I do think it is important. Adding a target model. Let's copy that once more because I accidentally erased it. Right, so our models will be the c dot what stage models, right? 1. Because this is stage 1, right? Remember in our config, stage 1, it'll be this table. So config.stageModels, square bracket 1 would be this little table, and that is exactly what we are feeding it right here. Okay. Then we create an export for QBTarget, adding target models called models. So for each of these models, we'll add a target option, right, with the following options. Okay. Just want to tidy it up a bit. Okay. Now our options, it'll only have one option. And what event will it trigger? It would most likely trigger a can add item type of event. So let us see. So triggering a stage 1. Let's just copy that and paste it there. Attempt to take item, maybe. We'll possibly figure something out. I hope it can run a function. Camera. Add target model. Right. Event, icon, target item. Action. Yeah, action is a function. Right, this replaces the event, and this is optional. Okay. I don't think I want to run an event. Right, the reason for it, right? Actually, we could do an event. It actually doesn't matter. We don't need the action. We do the attempt to take item. In here, we call a function, and we do play minigame, I guess. Local success is equal to play minigame. And in our customize, I guess what we can do is local, no, we'll have to do a more global function, call it play minigame. And in here, people can add their own minigame thingy. Right, continue, return success. Local success is false. Add your minigame trigger here. Okay, I wanted to do a callback because of a few things, right? I'm gonna do success is null, right? And then I want to do success is play minigame, and then I'll do while success is equal to null, do end, right? And we'll wait 10 milliseconds. I'm doing this for two reasons, because it's not a callback and we can't do the .await type callback. We are coding our own wait function. So we set success to null, right? And then we assign success this function. Okay. Because what's going to happen is we're going to trigger this event, and it's going to assign this, and it's going to trigger that. And then the event will end, right? If we didn't have the wait. Because it'll call this function, and it'll trigger the minigame, and you'll play the minigame. It won't take 1 second or a millisecond to complete. Remember, some minigames take up to 30 seconds, right? Depending on the settings of the minigame. And only after you've completed it, either successfully or unsuccessfully, it'll return whether or not you completed it successfully. And only then success would be either false or true. Therefore, once that is completed, we can continue, right? Then we can say if success, then else end, right? So we'll return, right, if success, which means they are successful, we will add an item, right? Else we will tell them try again, right? Or remove item. Simple as that. Okay, we'll continue filling out the rest of the code in the next episode. But until then, you know where to find the support. It is in the Discord, which is linked below. Once again, thank you for everyone interacting. I truly do hope you find these helpful. If you need any support, you know where to find me. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.